Hey everybody, Jerome Maldonado. Look behind me and there's kids playing. COVID parameters are lifting. Life is starting to go again. People were worried about would people acclimate back to normality with all of the shutdowns, the worry, the moratorium, everything that's happening right now. And it's refreshing to see kids out on the field playing. My son's out there coaching. I wanted to take a minute to come in and just talk with you guys a little bit about what's happening right now and people acclimating and getting back to life. And so one of the big things is that we always tried to respect everything that was going forth with COVID, but knowing that there was parameters, we had to make sure that we were in compliance with that stuff. But in the same note, life continues to move. And so if you guys have watched our content, you guys have followed my story over the last year, since the pandemic started almost exactly a year ago, you've noticed that we've continued to make progressions forward. In fact, 2020 was one of our most financially lucrative years because construction and real estate were booming. We're expecting things to pivot and change, and as you guys know, I've been talking about that pivot and that change for the last couple years. Knowing that the market was stimulated pre-COVID and knowing that it's super escalated now, we're due for a huge market correction in both the residential and commercial sector. Although certain sectors, we've already seen a lot of what's happened in a lot of the shutdowns have affected so many small business owners, a lot of sectors of real estate in regards to office and retail, the hospitality industry. Those sectors have been affected greater than any other industry in the real estate sector. Now, the residential market is about to get affected. Now, how do you set yourself up for that? One of the big things that I learned from experience from going through the late 1990 recession and the recession of 2008 when the mortgage and financial crisis hit was that I needed to set myself up differently than we were set up back in 2007 and 8 to get through that financial crisis. And so we began to reposition what we were doing as a business 2 years ago. And so when COVID hit, it was to no surprise to us that things were going to shift. And so hence our business actually was stimulated. And so now what I've always said is that no matter where you're at, when there's market sectors that are being affected financially, there's opportunity in other market sectors. You just have to look for those market sectors to take advantage, because where there's times of distress, there's opportunity. And so when you see kids on the fields, they're playing, life's getting back to normal, now what's going to happen is all the money that the government is pumping into the system is going to have to get shut off at some point in time. Moratoriums expire, foreclosure rates goes up because there's people that are 60 days, 90 days late on their mortgage payments. Some of those people will refinance. Some of those people will go back and renegotiate with the banks, but there's a lot of those people that won't have that luxury and that ability because they just don't have the ability financially. Those people that are still suffering from unemployment, that have been affected, can't find employment, a lot of those homes will land up in foreclosure. So hence, a lot of that will increase the inventory on the real estate market sector nationwide. Now, is there going to be markets that are affected greater than other markets? The answer is yes. There's market sectors like Florida where we see a lot of northeastern population moving down south. Florida is going to be a big market sector where it's going to be attractive for people to move into. People moving out of California because of the tax laws, moving into places like Idaho, moving over to places like Utah, to Arizona, up north to Washington State and Oregon. And so some of those market sectors are not going to get hit as greatly as the other sectors in the market. So you have to look at sub-market categories to see if you can find your little niche in growing markets to reposition your assets, your money, your capital, your investments, and everything else. So you guys will notice that we've been taking precedents in Puerto Rico, where we have 4 deals going on right now. We've been taking precedents in Washington State because we know that the median family income is much more stable up there. And we have a business model that if the market gets affected up there, we can simply lease the properties instead of sell them. And when the market recuperates, then we can exit the properties for a profit and reposition that capital. And so everything that we do in any single market sector has to do with what is our long-term strategy, what is our worst case scenario, and what is our worst case profitability, or what is our business plan. And it's all about the business plan, knowing what business plans, how you're going to shift your business plan if the market around you actually shifts, and doing the homework, the research, and having the knowledge to be able to know what positions to take and what business plan to utilize in different market sectors. We never have a crystal ball in front of us. You can't rub that crystal ball and it's not going to show us exactly what's going to happen in the future. We can speculate, learn from the past, and be able to look into the future as to what we can speculate is going to be there. So when we exercise on worst case scenario and you educate yourself on market sectors and have a business plan with a worst case scenario set in place, you have options. And everything in the market like it is today is all about options. And so when you guys ask for advice, you guys are looking at wondering what market sectors to invest in, what precautions to take. Everything is based on education, exit strategies, and knowledge. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do your homework, you look at growing market sectors, subsector categories of different markets, you'll find little niches in your own backyard in little subsector categories that you can invest capital to continue moving forward and take advantage of financial profits long term. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you go out and compound your success.